G'day, just trying to help you out with this question. I'd like to see the question in its entirety, but if that was all that you were given, then I guess we'll still work it out in a similar way. I think that the mean has to be 0. But if it's not, it'll still be the same answer anyway. But I'm interested to know what the 0.05 is. Like 0.05, positive and negative 0.05. I'm not sure what that means. Is that 0.05 standard deviations away from the mean, or is it just like the value 0.05 away from the mean? If it's 0.05 standard deviations, I'll have to work it out slightly differently. But if it's just the value 0.05 away from the mean, then like the answers will still be the same. But I'll show you, sort of how I get it. We still do everything the same way that we did before. But rather than like, I won't assume that the mean is 0. I'll make the mean, some other value if I can. Hang on. Okay, it should work now. There we go. So I'll just make that the mean instead. It's as strange as it can mean, but that's the mean. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is, and so I don't know the standard deviation, sorry, I'll just go back to that. So I've got one equation with two unknowns in it, the mean and the standard deviation, I don't know. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out another an equation using the other's 0.05, the other part. This time I use this part here. This time I'm going to find out what that is. I'll call that D. We'll work it out using the same sort of method. So I'll say that the probability that x is greater than 0.05 equals 0.01. So therefore the probability that z is greater than d is 0.01, and then you can do that on your calculator. And I had to do mine a slightly different way, but you'll still get the same answer as D equals 2.3263. Just the positive version, because it's the same distance away. So this time I've got that equation there, and I'll also have this equation, 2.3263 equals this time positive 0.05 minus the mean over the standard deviation. So that's equation 1, and that's equation 2. And when I solve those two equations simultaneously and I try and find out what the mean is and what the standard deviation is, my mean will be 0 and my standard deviation will be 0.02, I can't remember the decimals, but it might have been 0.021. It's the same both times. It kind of has to be like that, because if we've got here positive 0.05 and then negative 0.05, the middle must be the mean, which is 0 in this case. So that's how I would answer that question without having seen the rest of it. That's probably how I'd tackle it. There is another possibility that it could be. They could be saying 0.05 standard deviations away from the mean. Now, if that is the case, again, the mean would still be 0 because it's smack bang in the middle. But if it was, then that would actually be the z value, 0.05. If it was 0.05 standard deviations away, that would be the z value. So instead of having these z values here, 2.3263 and negative 2. You would have 0.05 there, and then it would make things a little bit difficult. The problem with that then is that you actually don't know the x value, because that would be a z value that you've got. So I don't actually think that would be the right way to tackle the question. So I'm pretty sure that we'll tackle it the way that we did before. I assumed that the mean was 0 because it's in the middle. But even if you didn't assume that the mean was 0 and you still worked it out, you still get the same answer anyway. That's based on what I can see in the question. That's what I would do. Unless there's more to it that I'm not aware of. That's how I would tackle it. Let me know if you need any more help or if anything else comes to mind. Otherwise, I hope that helps. Thanks.